Welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is another episode of Put It Together live stream. Welcome to the show. It is Saturday, February 12th, 2022, and we have a great show for you guys today. I know I say that every time, but just hold on, just wait. I want to welcome all of our friends that are watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thank you for joining us. If you do me a favor, would you share this on your page and let your friends and family join us on the show? For those of you watching us on YouTube, will you do me another favor? Scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show on the page. Remember, we got Wednesdays with Christian and Daniel, Fridays the Card Devo, and on Saturdays Put It Together, plus some extra stuff that pops up. So you want to subscribe and join that page. Today's episode, I'm very excited. He is a friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times and always brings us exclusives and some new music to the show. So I'm really excited. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Johnny Schaefer is an award-winning eclectic Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter. He has a BA in music, composition, and voice from California State University, Fullerton. He has sung backup for Melissa Manchester, Josh Groban, Sarah Vaughan, Sarah Brightman, Pete Townsend, Billy Idol, Diahann Carroll, and others. He's joined on his song "You Can't Hide the Light" by Grammy Award winner Melissa Manchester, fulfilling a decades-long dream. The song is the winner of the prestigious UK Songwriting Contest in the Best Original Song category and special joint venture with Music Aid International. He was a cantor and a soloist at Blessed Sacrament Church in Hollywood, California, from 1981 to 2021. Johnny has 2 albums. Acoustic Remedy is an eclectic mix of mostly original tunes. From Here to Nativity is a Christmas album, taking the listeners from Advent through Epiphany. 7 of the songs are original and 7 are classics. His recent singles are currently digital releases, but will be part of a forthcoming album. Johnny is married to videographer Paco Silva and has been active in the LGBTQ arts community. And with further ado, let's bring our friend Johnny. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Daniel. Hi, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming back on the show. I always get excited when you come because you bring us new music and we get to have some exclusives. So it's like a special celebration here at Put It Together. So thank you for coming.
Always fun. I always love being on your show.
The only thing that's different this time is that we weren't doing the bios in the last episode. So when I got your bio and was able to read, I'm like, there was stuff that we never got to talk about on the shows.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's a nice touch. Glad you do that.
But the new song, let's I guess that's Johnny Schaefer, tell us how you put it together.
Well, you and I have been talking about this interview for a while, and it's great timing because the song "You Can't Hide the Light" was released back in October, and it's the fulfillment of a decades-long dream I've had of recording with my all-time favorite singer-songwriter, Melissa Manchester, who's going to be with us in a few minutes. When I was a closeted, scared gay kid back in the 70s in Porterville, California, her music was kind of a beacon of light for me. It helped me through really dark times. It made me feel like I wasn't alone. Her songs uplifted me, made me feel loved and learned to love myself. And I used to write songs and then record them on cassette tapes and mail them to her. And the ladies in the management office thought it was really cute and the whole thing. And just over time, it's a very long story, but we gradually became friends. And then my husband Paco makes her music videos, or many music videos for her now. And then I sent her this song, "You Can't Hide the Light," and thankfully, she said yes to recording it with me as a duet. And I'm really happy that it was with this song, particularly because the message, it's about seeing the light in each other. And so much of Melissa's music is about that. In fact, several of her songs talk about light specifically. So it was a wonderful thrill. And it kind of felt like validation too that, I am supposed to be doing this because since I was 4 years old, I always wanted to be a singer-songwriter. And then now winning the contest is kind of further validation. So I feel
And
like I'm on
congratulations on the contest. That is so amazing. It's well deserved. Well deserved. I
Thank
don't
you.
want to sound, for those of you that know the show, and because I've known Johnny for a while, I don't want to sound like I'm kissing his butt, but he's really like, he gave me an opportunity when I was first like really getting my podcast going, gave me an opportunity to interview him. And we've kind of both grown up in our careers. We
Yeah.
watch each other, so it's really kind of cool. So I feel like a brother that's just like, yeah, cool, bro. So tell us about the song a little bit. Tell us where it came out from. How did you put it together?
Yeah, on the last show I was on, we talked about how Paco and I were caregivers for my parents up in Olympia, Washington, when my mom and stepfather both died last year, unrelated to COVID, but my mom had breast cancer and also uterine cancer, and then my stepfather had decades of heart issues, and they died 4 months apart. And Paco and I, during lockdown, we were their caregivers for that whole year. And it was a sacred honor to be with my mom and my stepfather through that. We sang to them as they passed away. And it was a beautiful experience. And a lot of music came out of that period. I wrote like crazy. And Melissa, I think, will probably talk to this when she comes on the show. But I'd been writing songs my whole life, but I feel like now it's kind of crystallized. And a lot of people are telling me, yeah, you have your own voice now. And this song is kind of part of that. So this, we got actually, when my mom died, my mom's landlord kicked us out. Once she found out a gay couple was living there, she said, you can't stay here. You can only be here during the day. And I'm being nice to you, just letting you do that. And it was during COVID, and it was a really horrible experience. And I started thinking about how my spiritual practice tells me to see the light in people, regardless, if they're forgetting about the light in themselves. And I was laying in bed one night, and the song just kind of came to me, just thinking about all that. So that's where it comes from.
It's always interesting how out of the darkness of life, something beautiful can emerge. And so I'm very proud of you for taking that angle when so many other people could take a very negative side to it. Yeah, it is unbelievable. And we'll talk about that later. But what does it mean to you to have this song that came out of that place, go and win a contest?
It's pretty incredible. There were over 6,500 entries.
Wow.
And so to win the best original song category, if you're going to win a song contest, that's the category to win. So it's pretty incredible. I'm still kind of pinching myself.
Well, we'll celebrate you. Well, I guess we have a lot to talk about. So do you mind if we play the song now?
That'd be great. I'd love it. Thank you.
So you want to introduce it for everybody?
Okay, here is the video. This was made at Lineage Performing Arts Center in Pasadena. And we had dancers from Lineage involved in the video. And I think you'll see it's, we're pretty proud of it.
Sweet. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Here we go.
The thing about barbed wire is that you can see right through it. The thing about you is that you're transparent too. The thing about us is that we put up defenses, but still all of this light just keeps bursting right through. You can't hide the light.
Sometimes the race, sometimes the
You
burning.
can't hide the
Sometimes it
light.
blazes like the sun and moon and
You
stars
can't
together.
hide
It
the
shines
light.
24/7 been January through December. Sometimes I think that you forget, don't worry, I remember.
The thing about white lies is that you can see right through them. The thing about your eyes is they show the real you. The thing about us is that we got this connection. The sort of this light just keep bursting right through. You can't hide.
And I say me, but I'm sure that you already know. So many times when it's been dark, your love is so near. So many others start to shine when you decide to show it. It just takes turning on a light and darkness goes away. I thought I was lost in the darkness. I couldn't make anything out. I remember that first healing flicker, like finding a stream in the midst of a long, hard drought.
Now I drink in all your lies.
Drinking all your lies. So many times when it's been dark, your love is shown away. So many others start to shine when you decide to show it. It just takes turning on a light and darkness goes away.
Another thing about barbed wire
Sometimes
is that you can slip right through it. Another thing about you is that
sometimes
you cut to the chase. Another thing about us is that we've learned how to let go. And now I got to bask in all this light from your face.
Dawn of you with wonder and anticipation. Your light is unaffected by the fog and clouds and rain. Unlike the moon, your light is fueled by self-illumination. You might disguise it, but it never fully goes away.
sometimes I think that you forget, don't worry, I remember.
And cut.
I particularly like, well, there's a couple of things I really like about the video. Is number one, that you put the lyrics in there so that we can sing along with it. Because a lot of times I watch a video and I'm like, I want to know the words because it's the new song and I don't know it. So kudos to that. And then
one of the reasons we did that is because there's the double melody going on, and we had 55 vocal tracks in the song. So it's a lot happening. So people were actually asking. So we added that, and we put that the lyric videos on Melissa's YouTube channel.
And I like how the video, if you muted it and you just watched it, it takes you on this journey, like you know what's going on without hearing it. Like they're apart, and then it breaks it down, and then the cheer, and then of course I always love behind the scenes stuff. So when you guys cheer at the very end, it's like yes, I can hear it. So it's pretty awesome. So you get a lot of cheers from the folks watching the show. By the way, thank you. I forgot to mention in the beginning, thank you to the Manchesters out there who are watching. You guys do me a favor of reposting the show today on your page. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for watching. So I guess with I know that you've been friends and a fan and worked with Melissa Manchester for a long time, but was there a particular reason why you felt that she would be the perfect person to put voice to the words?
Well, we talked about how a lot of her songs mention light, and then I felt like this song having the double melody lent itself to a duet. And as soon as Melissa comes on, I'm sure she talks about her feelings about that initially. I just felt like it's so in line with everything that Melissa's about, and I was convinced that it would work, and I feel like it really did. So.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let me just tell you a little bit for those of you who are not familiar. Of course, the little gay boy inside of me is having a moment right now, just to let you know. I can't lie because this show is about transparency, and I was going to play it so cool, but I can't, so I'm not. But let me tell you a little bit. Melissa's tremendously successful solo career brought her critical and commercial acclaim. The Midnight Blues singer received her first Grammy nomination for Best Pop Female Vocal Performance in 1979 for the Peter Allen Carol Bayer Sager penned Don't Cry Out Loud, winning the Grammy in that category 4 years later for You Should Hear How She Talks About You. Awesome song. She celebrated her 45-year career with the release of her 21st album in 2017, The Fellas, a tribute to the iconic male singers who set the platinum standard for the music of the Great American Songbook. Her upcoming album, Review, due out in 2022, features previously unreleased songs as well as fresh takes on several of Melissa's enduring classics. So without further, I am about having a moment right now. Okay. Hi, welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thanks very much. Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I saved this comment because I wanted you to see it when you came on. Javier Luna is a good friend of mine from Houston, and he used to perform to your songs as a female impersonator. So he
Oh,
says,
great.
yes.
Yes,
So,
there's a small troupe of men who used to perform my songs in beautiful drag for sure. So welcome and thank you very much.
thank you. That is just a portion of the bio of your bio. I mean, I definitely broke it down for the show and for time. But for those people who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Oh, sure. I grew up in the Bronx and Manhattan. My father was a bassoonist with the Metropolitan Opera. My mother was a pioneer in the world of fashion design, and my sister and I grew up uh, as uh, as daughters who were invited to dream their best dreams. And I'm a product of the public school system. I went to the High School of Performing Arts. I became a jingle singer and earned a nice living when I was 15 years old, so I could pay for my demos. I used to send in my demos to record companies and got summarily rejected. It took me 7 years to get a record deal. Um, but I had a very adventurous teenage years. I had great jobs. I parked cars for a theater company. I was an usherette at Lincoln Center. As I said, I was a jingle singer. I worked in street theater, and finally, I got a chance, and I started to sing at the coffee houses in Greenwich Village in New York. And then one of my jingle singing friends, it was astounding education to be a jingle singer because you met such brilliantly talented people and you learned how to perform and think on your feet. So I would meet Patty Austin and Valerie Simpson and Nikki Ashford and Barry Manilow. And we became friends. And then he introduced me to Bette Midler, and she asked, I eventually created the Harlettes with Barry Manilow for her. And I was the toots in the middle for about 6 months, and then I went on to my own recording career. Yeah.
That's listening to you talk about that. It sounds so quick. Like for a lot of us, here in Hollywood, like people don't know that before you make it, there's all these things that you do in preparation and all these side jobs and
Yes.
all these other
Well,
things, right?
yes, and getting rejected repeatedly, which enables you to either dig deeper and say not no, yes, every time somebody rejects you, or you say this is really not for me after all. And
That's
for me, I just got more committed to my vision, and I was also in the right place at the right time. I mean, growing up in the Bronx and Manhattan is such spectacular energy. And the fact that my parents were both black sheep of their family enabled me to dream, and nobody, kicked me out of the house. They all thought my dreams were a good idea. So, they stood by me and supported me, not financially, but they supported me emotionally and spiritually. And so my sister and I talk about this. As we get older and shadows become longer, our memories become more and more precious because we were both born into the right family, in the right city, in the right moment.
That's very cool. And there's one thing that you mentioned about like when somebody says no, and Johnny, when I think we can all agree in entertainment, there's always somebody that you're not the right look, you're not the right part,
Right.
you're not the right voice. It doesn't mean that you're not doing the right thing. It's just not.
Correct.
And thick
Well,
skin.
well, in this moment, however, in this golden age of the beginning of the independent artist, there are a lot fewer people saying no because you're no longer waiting to be signed with a record company. You are your record company.
Yeah, yeah,
And so it's up to you to stay strong and stay committed and reach out and find the best people who will help you create a village to get your music out. I mean,
yeah,
YouTube changed the game. It not only changed the game, it changed the marketplace. So,
yeah. And I associate with that because of the show. When I auditioned to be host of shows year after year, and no. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to create my own show, and
right.
people come to my show instead of me asking
That's right.
every day.
That's right. That's
We do have a question already on the board for y'all, so if you're ready for
okay.
questions. A question for both of you. Where does your drive for success come from? How do you keep it going through the challenging moments? Whoever
Go
wants to
ahead,
go.
Johnny. You're the new kid in town.
Okay. For me, it's like, I mentioned that since I was 4 years old, I wanted to do this. And I wrote my first song when I was 4. And I remember I used to lay on my bedroom floor and listen to records. And down at the bottom, it would say, the person who wrote the song, and they would say singer-songwriter, and then it would say ASCAP or BMI also. And I used to write songs, and my mom would show me how to write the notes out, and then I'd write Johnny Schaefer ASCAP at the bottom. And so it's just what I always felt I was supposed to do. And I took a huge detour for lots of reasons, because in my 20s, several times I supposedly got record deals with people who were starting record companies, and they didn't know what they were doing. And it was a horrible experience, and I got taken advantage of, and I spent a lot of money, and I just said, okay, I can't do this. But I never lost the drive, and I kept writing songs. And it just always felt like, I know I'm supposed to do this. And so for me, I just want people to hear my songs. Like I always tell people, there are over 300 million people in America. So if 1 out of 300 people likes my music, that's 1 million people. And I know that 1 out of 300 people at least would like my songs. So it's a matter of, how do I get my songs in front of those people? So that's one of the things that I'm convinced that my music's good enough that people would enjoy it, and it would have meaning in their lives. So I just have to try to get it in front of people. And the whole DIY thing has made it where the independent music movement has allowed me to do that.
That's such a cool way to look at it. Like, if this many people have listened to it, I love that. I'm gonna have to go back and
You
say
can
that.
apply that to a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a really cool, positive way to look at it. How about for you?
Well, I think this is a really interesting question because the phrase "your drive for success," my success is that I have been able to sustain a career for a very long time. That is my success. My drive comes from the insistence on my creative urge. It never goes to sleep. It never stops. It doesn't give a crap how old I am or how it just wants to express itself. That is my drive. Okay. My success is that I've been able to endure. My success is not based on finances or that kind of stuff. The success comes from the ability to sustain the drive, the creative urge. And that in and of itself is the success that I've been able to nurture it, attend to it, refine it, pay attention to it. That's what sustains me. Because 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 when I was starting, the position of a woman artist was, you were on very shaky ground. There was very little support You were supposed to fit into categories. You were supposed to look a certain way and sing a certain way and act a certain way. And none of that worked for me, really. I mean, I tried it and I had some success with it, but it started to erode my soul. And so then I stepped away for a while in order to find my way back. And that's so all of that I took all of those chances and bet on myself. That was my success. That's my definition of success. I learned to trust myself more. I learned to be able to smell at a distance when somebody did not have my best interest at heart, because when you're a very young artist, and because I teach these master classes and I see how I see myself reflected in them, when you're very young, you're so desperate to be accepted or to be heard, to be understood, that you will still sign these stupid contracts that you will be paying for a really long time. And so part of what I can impart is my experience, and then people are left to do what they're going to do. But that's how I define success: is attending to my creative urge, no matter what.
It's very good because there's a follow-up question to that, and I think you've kind of answered a little bit. It says, how long has it taken you both to find success, and how did you keep your head above water while schlepping at other jobs for survival?
Well, I mean, that's a very real and very good question. My Where my heart lives, I just want to be around creative people. I find them so interesting. And so when I was an usherette, when I parked cars for a theater company, when I was a gopher at Sesame Street, all of those jobs enabled me to be around intensely creative people who somehow were able to manifest their creativity. And by that, I learned.
Gotcha.
I
And
didn't lift their experience was, because it wasn't my experience, but I saw them in action in real time, dealing with corporate structures, dealing with their own creative impulses, collaborating. It was the juice of my life, and it still is.
because Johnny, you were talking about at the beginning of the show, like through tragedy, you kept writing and you kept creating. Uh, how do you keep your head above water?
Well, yeah, it's like Melissa said. I mean, one of the things I loved about making this video was that, we involved the creative people at Lineage Performing Arts Center, and then my husband and his partner Daniel Henry Smith, to create the video. And so just that collaboration was really thrilling for me. And Melissa and I have talked about this. I work a lot with Stefan Oberhoff, who produced this track with me, and it he plays all the instruments and everything else. So it's when I'm working with him, a lot of times it's just the two of us in the room. But when you get more people, like I've been in the studio when Melissa's had a whole band with her and everything, and it's very exciting when you've got more people that are bringing ideas in. And so, yeah, the whole collaborative thing is really exciting. And that was why I was so happy that Melissa agreed to sing a song with me, because it just, when you bring other people into the mix, it's really magical.
I tell people that if I'm in the entertainment community, in the advocacy, or in the energy work community, that I always, one of my mottos is, I'm a mirror of the company I keep, because I will reflect your energy. If you're being creative, if you're being positive, I will
That's
give
right.
you.
You bet.
I will give you. Yeah. So that
You
was.
bet. You bet. And as you move into your life, you start to realize, okay, who is this toxic energy suck
Yeah.
person that takes so much management to be friends with? It's making me nuts. Really, that's really, really important.
So talking about the good segue, because I do have a picture that you were kind enough to send me behind the scenes a little bit. Here it is. I really like this photo. It's just so good. Now I want a little bit of dirt here. Was it that easy to work together?
Well, it was. I mean, when Johnny first sent me the song, and it's true, he used to send cassettes over the years, and they were nice songs, and he was clearly committed to becoming a songwriter. But I noticed because there was a real shift. There was a real dividing line. In the last couple of years, he has made a leap, a real leap in his songwriting craft and in his voice as a songwriter, because that is what I learned when I was studying songwriting at age 17 with the great Paul Simon. He said all of the stories have been told. It's the way you tell your story that will separate you out. And it is true. It was true then. It's true now. It will always be true. And so when I was sent You Can't Hide the Light, it sounded like a complete world to me. So I couldn't figure out why he wanted to make a duet. It just sounded like a whole fascinating, harmonic, beautifully crafted, and beautifully produced world. But he said, no, no, come on, sing this tune with me. You'll have fun. And it was so intriguing to sing with all of these beautiful voices, because what was intriguing was that the voices do not take a back position like a background choir. It is actually at the same volume as the two lead singers, so that the voices are commenting on the two lead singers in real time. I'd never heard that before. I thought it was completely fascinating and original, and complete. The world was complete, not just what the two primary singers were singing, but the commentary was complete. I mean, it was wild. You could stage this. And so it was delightful to work on it, and I was very proud of Johnny and very delighted to be part of it.
That's very cool.
Thank you, Melissa. There was a video that we used as a teaser to announce the song,
Yes.
and you see some of the action in the studio. You get to see Melissa in the booth, the recording booth. So check that out. It's on my YouTube channel, and that day was so incredible.
Magic.
It was, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, Melissa showed up with this energy, like, she just wanted to give everything to the song, and she gave us several passes on every line that she sang, and just there was so much joy in the room, and
it was I think it was maybe your first or the beginning of your experience with other people bringing life to your song, and and there is nothing like that never gets old. It's always a freaking miracle when somebody else comes in and speaks your words and sings your notes, and you discover things that you didn't realize were just lurking behind the words and the music. It's magic. It's true magic. It's true magic.
Well, and hearing you sing lines that I had already sung and that I wrote, I came even more to respect your musicality and your vocal prowess, because just in one line, the way you'll get different colorings, it's just really beautiful, and that's why you're one of the legends in the industry. So thank you.
That is so cool, and I'm enjoying this conversation that it just shows, again, when you have the right people around you, it just feels natural. It just feels cool. For everybody watching, this is putting together. My guests today are singer-songwriters Johnny Schaefer and Melissa Manchester, and we're talking about the new duet that they have out. If you missed it at the beginning of the show, don't worry, we'll play it again so you guys can listen to it. If you have any questions or any comments, please, whatever page you're watching us, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube, make sure you ask your question, make a comment. This is your time. We're streaming live, and if you've missed any of this, don't worry, you can go back and watch it at any time. We do have your video, Melissa. Not even ask you. I was so embarrassed to ask her, should I call you Miss Manchester? Should I call you Melissa? Or should I call you?
Call me Melissa.
I just went in for it. But we do have your video on cue. May we play it now?
Well, let me set it up. This is a re-recording of Midnight Blue, which I wrote with Carol Sager, and it was my first hit. And the whole point of Review is, at this point in my career, to re-record with some harmonic tweaks several of my charted hits, and because of the pandemic and nobody was going anywhere and every venue was shut down and I couldn't perform at all, to create videos that would accompany these songs, but the videos allowed a deeper experience of the song. And in the case of Midnight Blue, what you're seeing is an actual musical conversation between the younger me who had the hit at that time and the present me who's reflecting on this younger woman. It was very touching. Paco did a beautiful job constructing it, as did Daniel.
People are already excited about it. Yeah, I saw it before the show, so yes, it's really cool. All right, here we go.
Whatever it is, it'll keep.
Hold on a second, let me figure out what's going on here. Sorry, folks.
on.
So let's try this one more time.
Haven't we both got bad?
Now I don't know what's going on. Okay, talk among yourself. Let me get this squared up really quick. So we just played it by accident. Something's happened.
Yeah, it was working earlier.
Give me 1 second. Meanwhile, I do have a question while I bring this up. Because when I was watching the video, I did see that part. The lyrics, when you, over the years that you perform a song, do the lyrics start taking on a different meaning year after year or time after time?
Yes, they do. The lyrics, the experience of singing these songs become living monologues for me. Though I was there in the room when it was written, it was such a long time ago. And in retrospect, I'm so surprised that we understood as much as we did, that we had sort of intuitive, innate wisdom. Because Midnight Blue, I've been told through fan letters and such over the years that this song really helped lots of people through rough patches in their relationships, or deciding to make a baby, or deciding to commit to each other, or deciding to not commit suicide, or getting through some, yes, and that's the power of a song in general. If people somehow project whatever they're going through onto your song, it's the unexpected part of songwriting, because when you're writing, you're sitting in front of a blank piece of paper. You don't know what's about to evolve, and then when you're finished, you've created a world that did not exist before you created it. And the power of a song, which is a world created in 3.5 minutes or something like that, is that it captures something for the listener, and it either sheds a light on something, clarifies something, lifts something emotionally, spiritually, helps them remember something that they needed to process, grieve, celebrate. I mean, this is a disposable society, so people think, oh, what's a song? But the reason that certain songs endure, that they create standards for excellence, is because the composition itself speaks to the listener. That is true magic. That is a true spiritual practice. And that's why it's important to share beauty in this life, because you never know whose life you're going to save. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And so Midnight Blue was the first for me that did that. I worked very hard with the record company at the time, Arista Records, to support it. I toured and did college tours and radio tours, and it was quite something when it actually went up the charts. It was nothing like that first time.
I have it queued up. Let me see if this works this time.
Sorry?
There we go. There we go.
All right.
Whatever it is, it'll keep till the morning. Haven't we both got better things to do? Midnight blue. Even the simple things become rough. Haven't we had enough? And I think we can make it one more time if we try, if we try. think we can make it. Oh, wouldn't you give your heart to a friend? Think of me as your friend, and I think we can make it. One more time, if we try. One more time for all the old times, and I think we can make it, yes. One more time, if we try, one more time for all of the old times. One more time, I think we can make it if we try. I think we can make it if we try. Looks like we're gonna make it, yes. Looks like we're gonna make it. Midnight blue.
Thanks. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I can't.
I said, how dare you come on
There
my
you go.
show and make me cry? I don't know if it's just, yeah, Javier, so am I. I don't know if it's the way that you talked about it, the question that I asked right before, like, does it change? Because I've heard this song, that's my sister, by the way, she loves this song too. I've heard this song hundreds of times, and the way that you talked about it just now, I'm a cancer survivor, and something about when it says one more time, it just like pulled the string. Just made me
I
remember.
think, yeah, I'm so, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Something I've noticed I've noticed about several of the songs that I wrote with Carol Sager. We didn't know this at the time. All of our songs always came out of conversations. So there's a certain intimacy in the quality of the lyrics. There's a certain pull for the listener to lean in, because I am leaning in to offer the message. But one of the things that I think is touching about these old songs of mine is there was an inherent weariness in the thought of it. Because to try for one more time means you've been through something already. And I think, blessedly, that's what listeners unconsciously got. And that is a human condition. It doesn't matter what age you are, you've already been through stuff. And for a song to say, we are in this, and I know this, it's not in the song, but somehow I feel, having ruminated on this for so long, it's a shared experience in the human condition of this slight weariness, or maybe profound weariness from time to time. So thank you.
That's one of the lines that I use to pitch the show to people when I'm inviting them on. It's like, if you're over the age of 16, you probably already have a story. So come and share how you put it together. We have a couple of other questions for y'all. Does the music business have ageist issues as the film business? If yes, have you both had to deal with it? And how have you dealt with it if it's still difference between the sexes? Several questions in there, but.
Well, I don't know, Johnny, have you had experience like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was when I was like in my 30s, I was told, "Oh, it's already too late. You know, if you haven't made it by now, you're not going to make it." And then recently, you know, when I kind of relaunched or started putting out a lot of the recent music that I've done, I talked to a few industry people who said, "Well, you shouldn't go for like, you know, the top 40 stations because they want people in their 20s and you have to have like $100,000 to promote it and all this. So you know, but lucky for you, there's this whole world where it's perfectly acceptable to be any age. And the people at smoothjazz.com, Sandy Shore and her team, were really good to this record. And I had a Christmas song on there a year before that they were really good about promoting as well. And most of the artists on their charts are in older 50s, 60s, 70s, and doing great, you know, making wonderful music. So there's I feel like there's an ageism with some of the people who control certain things, but they're getting more and more pushed to the side as the rest of us say, okay, well, whatever, do what you want. We're going to do this ourselves then.
Yeah, I think, you know, the few record companies that exist that are left, I don't know how they're dealing with it, but I will tell you from my own experience, sexism, hello. I mean, there was when I started in the 70s, I started recording in the 70s. By the 80s, when the disco scene happened, you know, and Madonna showed up, everybody was hoping, you know, they were vying for the next girl, the next disco girl. And, you know, my feeling was that if I could find something to justify me singing a song that I hadn't written, um, or a take on a video that may have some kind of worthwhile adventure in it, you know, I'd sign up for that. And if it didn't work out, okay, it would just be an adventure along the way. But there was a period where the sound of disco, which was new and bright and shiny and sparkly and nothing to do with me and my heart and soul. So it was very hard, because in that moment, electronic music was showing up. The star of your record was no longer you, it was the producer and his vision, usually a man. And so at some point, I just put myself in the position of being the hired girl singer. I didn't even stay in the studio for the mixes because I didn't understand the sounds. Everything was so bright and buzzy and electronic and not soft, not not authentic or organic. And I tried that for a while. And my students love those records because they're bright and young and sparkly and blah 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 and have very little soul. However, if you separated out those productions from the actual composition, a lot of those compositions are pretty good.
Yeah.
But because the gloss of those productions just made my brain hurt, that I took a pass at some point. I just left the industry because again, I was starting to lose my soul. And that's a very dangerous place to be in. And luckily I had two kids to raise and I needed to think about stuff, and I was starting to write more and more for Disney. I wrote two projects for them. I wrote a song for The Great Mouse Detective and Lady and the Tramp 2, and I was writing more for theater, and I was doing more theater. So I had the opportunity to navigate those peculiar choppy waters. And then over the course of time, the industry has changed in such a dramatic fashion that it's literally like reinventing the wheel, but it's not round the way we understood round to be in
Gotcha.
the beginning.
There was a question. I want to know what year did the song come out? 75, correct? Um, Midnight Blue?
Did my son?
No, no,
My son has not come out.
no. The song Midnight Blue
Oh, the
that came
song.
out.
This is
Yeah, it was,
what year did
yeah.
this? Oh, the song. Yes, 74, I think it was.
24? Okay.
Yeah.
And we have one more comment on here. I used to love to perform My Boyfriend's Back, and it was because it was a remake, but in your style and voice, it was different and fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, those songs, that golden age of the Brill Building, when you had Neil Sedaka and Jerry Goffin and Ellie Greenwich and Jeff Greenfield writing those unbelievable songs, and Carole King, of course, writing those unbelievable songs. But the thing about those songs is that they were actual compositions. They were written on a piano. Somebody sang them. They were thought about in the studio. Even when Phil Spector came in and created that wall of sound for My Boyfriend's Back, um, there was a sense of a composition, meaning that even if you took everything away and you just sat at the piano, you would still sing a good song.
Right.
You know what I mean? So thank you for that, and I'm glad that person enjoyed it.
Interestingly, the judging for the UK Songwriting Contest, they said that when you get to the finalist level, the judges actually decompose the song. They sit and play it on the guitar and on the piano, and they look over the lyrics, and they sit with each other and talk through the song and see how does this song work separate from the arrangement. And that's
Yeah,
why I
that's
actually,
fantastic. I
yeah,
didn't
that's
know
actually why
that.
I chose that contest, because
Well,
when
you see,
I
see there, that's my point exactly. Because
mhm,
all that sparkle and glitter, and all that icing sometimes can hide something that's weak. And
mhm.
and Johnny's song is so solid a composition. I'm thrilled to hear that that was part of the judgment. That's great.
Well, like I
Yeah, that's
mentioned in
why.
the beginning, reading the lyrics without even the music or anything, just reading, you're like, oh wow, this is really like cool. Like you understand the story, you know where it's going.
Well,
So
it's the thing about this song. You can't hide the light. It's a whole world. It's a
yeah.
complete world of two lead singers plus a Greek chorus commenting on the lead singer. It's unbelievable. And so I'm thrilled that they took it apart and just played it quietly and saw that it was a solid, solid, solid composition.
So we're running a little over time. I hope you guys are okay. But there's a part of my show where we like to share some words of wisdom with the audience. So I'll start with Johnny. Johnny, what words of wisdom do you have for the folks watching?
Well, I just turned 60 in December, and we were talking about the whole age thing, and I just recorded a song with my all-time favorite singer-songwriter. So I would say it's never too late to do what you want to do, and don't let anybody tell you any different.
Cool. And those,
Yes, it's neither too late too early. If you stay in the present and you trust yourself and find something that your heart and soul embraces, express that in any way, whether it's knitting or painting or serving food to the homeless or checking in on a neighbor. It's all a creative impulse, because creativity by definition is sort of to serve. It gives people a focus. So focus on you and then see what radiates into the world.
that's awesome. Thank you. We have one more question, if you guys don't mind. What singers do you both admire or enjoy from the past and present? Have they influenced your art?
Well, yes, everybody that I've paid tribute to has influenced me. As far as the women, as I say in my show, my two musical godmothers were Ella Fitzgerald and Judy Garland, and I got a chance to know Ella. I never met Judy, but I know her daughters. Um, and presently, uh, I I like people. I like Adele. I don't know. I like Chris Martin. I like different. I'm sure I could think of a whole slew of people. Ariana Grande.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And Johnny?
Well, in addition, of course, to Melissa, a lot of the writers and I like different artists for completely different reasons.
Mhm.
I love I guess if you want to look at more recent people, I actually used Sting's Soul Cages album as a reference for Stefan when I went into the studio for the sound that I wanted. You Can't Hide the Light to Live In. And then I'm a fan of the writing of Ricky Lee Jones, Alanis Morissette's songs. A lot, specifically lyrically, I love Alanis Morissette's lyrics a lot. I learned a lot from just studying the way she does things. But then, of course, I grew up with a lot of the Great American Songbook, which Melissa actually was recently inducted into the Great American Songbook Hall of Fame, a new standard award, right? Yeah. So all of the standards. I mean, I grew up singing musical theater, and all those songs we used to stand around the piano and sing when I was a kid. So just studying all of the songs that
Right.
got popular for a reason,
Right.
and seeing how they're written.
It's pretty cool. Well, we're almost running out of time, and I hate doing the concert because you guys this is one of my favorite. But I will kick myself if I don't say this, Melissa. I'm not going to cry. You're going to cry. So back when I was a kid, and I remember, I don't remember like why, but "Don't Cry Out Loud." I was about 7 or 8 years old when that song came out, and I didn't know why. It just had a feeling on me. And as I was preparing for the show, and the chorus starts, and it says, "Don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings." As a young little gay boy that didn't have a lot of gay people to talk to and didn't have anybody that I could look up to or talk to about that, it had such a like, keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, like, stay strong, stay powerful. And as an adult now, when I go through things, that lyric, that part of the lyric just hits me sometimes. It's like, just keep it inside for right now. Like, if they said no, they don't want you as an actor, or when I'm doing advocacy work and somebody calls me, they have cancer, and or just keep it together, Daniel. Just keep it together for a little bit longer, and don't cry out loud yet. And so I just, it is an honor to have you on my show and have a chance to talk to you and to be able to tell you that you have had a tremendous influence, especially with that song in my life. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else before we go?
Well, I just wanted to say to that lovely tribute that you just made, I was honored and blessed and privileged to be raised around lots of gay people in my childhood, and so when it was just a blessing, and it was just normal. And when I recorded "Don't Cry Out Loud," written by the great Peter Allen and Carol Sager, I didn't really understand the song at first, because everything that Carol Sager and I wrote about was about affirmation. And to suddenly sing a big song where the first word was "don't," it was very confusing for a while. But in years that have passed, to your point, Daniel, that song is indeed about learning how to cope. And that is very powerful, because that's all inside work. Nobody can do that for you. You can learn along the way from other people, but to learn how to cope is the inside job. So I appreciate that you got that from that beautiful song. Thank you.
And Johnny, thank you so much for choosing my show to come on and share your music and allow us to have exclusives and premieres and anytime. And Melissa, Miss Manchester, anytime you want to come and just share your story, I would love to have you back on the show.
Great. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to. Thanks.
So don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, don't leave, because before we end the show, I'm going to play the video again. But I'm going to put you guys in the green room for a minute, and I'll come back to you in just 1 second.
Okay.
For everybody watching, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode as much as I have. It's just an honor when friends choose you to promote their stuff. It's really amazing. And to have somebody at the caliber of Melissa Manchester come on the show, it really blows my mind. For all of you watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, please do us a favor. Share this on your page so that other folks can watch it. If you're watching us on YouTube, scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever there's new shows on. And remember that we have shows on Wednesday with the Christian and Daniel Show, on Fridays, the Cardivo, and on Saturdays, Put It Together. So make sure you check times for Pacific and Eastern times. Check us out at littlemexicanproductions.com and hashtag Little Mexican Productions Inc. And remember to watch out for new shows and new stuff coming. I'm going to play the video before we go, and then we'll end the show. So here we go. One more time. Oh. I'm going to play this again later. I don't know what's going on with my system that it doesn't play the video. But for those of you watching, I promise the video will be on our pages, and you go check them out. For now, I want to say thank you, Johnny and Melissa, for being on the show. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.